and GLHFs are going to go out here, and we will introduce our players as we have here in the northeast position as the green Protoss. It is RoXKIS.Fraer.
Opponent in the bottom left-hand location, currently teamless, I think, playing under the ID Princess, but most people know him as MajOr.
So MajOr played a very interesting mech style at the beginning. Then he had a nice transition in what looked to be like another mech run into a bio run, and obviously doesn't really apply to what we're going to see versus his Protoss opponent. But I think what you can take away from those initial games with Vibe from Root is that you know, he's got a bag of tricks, and a lot of people forget that, you know, MajOr, I guess you could say he kind of fell off. But instead of you know, falling off the circuit a little bit, but instead of falling off, imagine they actually went to some like old Chinese island where he trained with a kung fu master, and instead of a Chinese island, it was actually Korea, and instead of a kung fu master, it was just all the Koreans. So a lot of ladder play over there. He got to play with a few of the teams as well, and there's no doubt about it, the MajOr that we are seeing post-Korea is certainly more powerful than the MajOr we saw before. And the MajOr we saw before was already pretty impressive. So he's definitely a guy that I constantly keep an eye out for. I think he's got a lot of really interesting qualities. Of course, Fraer, he's just been hitting the scene, just busting out at the seams at every opportunity that he seems to be able to take.
Yeah, I mean, you know, MajOr is definitely getting so good at this game. Like, you could tell he works really hard. Like, game 1 against Vibe, all the skills he showed in that game really impressed me, so I'm super excited to see how he does in this TVP matchup. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see too much TVP from him, so it should be interesting to see what he does. And already getting a gas, like it's a little bit strange on this map, considering actually we saw Illusion do it too, which is funny in and of itself. But a lot of Terran players, you know, they like getting that fast natural without the gas, so it's interesting to see 2 Terrans in a row go for a gas early on this map. Now, this gas is a little bit later for MajOr compared to Illusion. I think Illusion got that gas before Barracks, but this time MajOr going to get it after Barracks, so we'll have to see what he does with this.
He did it for that super quick factory, but we'll keep an eye out as he's just now hit 100, and there we go. The factory does go down. Beyond that, we'll find out here very soon as the cybernetics core for Fraer is about ready to complete, staying on 1 gas, and we've seen him do an assortment of things, so it looks like he's going to just throw down that Nexus. And you know, based off of what we see, if we look at his vision, he hasn't scouted yet. So SCV is going to see this, and I wonder if we're going to have a unit make his way across the map, because honestly, we've seen Princess open with those low ground CCs quite often, but is he expecting this second gas going down, the factory about ready to complete?
Yeah, MajOr did see that Zealot, so he should be cautious that it is coming. Of course, with that high ground advantage, that will do a lot for him. Also, he can raise up the supply depot, so the Zealot shouldn't be an issue whatsoever. But the thing is, if the Zealot does poke up the ramp, he will see the factory and the reactor on top of the factory, so he will be able to predict what his opponent has incoming. Looks like this SCV is preparing to take a starport. That's exactly what he does, moving the barracks over, and we'll have to see if he adds on a tech lab to that to go into Banshees. No, changing his mind, moving the barracks back over, and now the Zealot is approaching MajOr's base. We'll have to see what Fraer can find out here about what his opponent is doing.
Yeah, and I mean, the Hellions are going to come out all over on the walled side. But he probably has a moment of confusion as he sees that the Nexus is not there, or excuse me, the command center is not there. He checks it again, and that Zealot gets the information he needs. So, you know, is it something, does he need to be concerned about an early attack? He's got 2 more gateways finishing up, throwing down the Chrono Boost on top of that Warp Gate research. And the Zealot is going to be taken down here by these 2 Hellions. Some good control here by MajOr. But what's beyond this? We have a medevac coming out, so maybe he's just going to go for that very quick medevac drop, actually Hellion drop. But do we have 4 Hellions out now? We do. We do.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is a very good strategy. You know, the goal is, all right, my opponent, he fast expanded. He's not going to have a ton of units on the field. I'm going to try to spread him out as much as possible and go after that economy, try to get damage done there. But what's interesting about this is MajOr isn't following it up with an expansion. He has a starport, he has a tech lab going down, so this implies he's going to go for Banshee after this, and he has 2 gases, so he's investing a lot into 1 base. We'll have to see if he even ever goes down that command center.
Yeah, now we do have the medevac making its way over, picking up those Hellions. The Hellions did take a few hit from the Stalkers, but the Stalkers are moving out right now. Oh, this is going to be so bad. Is he? We need to, oh, he just threw out a production cycle. We just had some stalkers go down inside the main. He's going to let go, and let's keep tabs here. 3 workers down already. 5 workers down. We do have a pretty good split there. We do get up to 9 workers down and 10 workers. That's going to pretty much pay for itself right there. Is he going to get a pickup? He does, and he gets out of there cleanly at the loss of a single Hellion. We are going to see the Stalkers making their way back, ignoring that Marine. They might be able to pick off that medevac, but I'll tell you what, right now, Fraer is just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, and, you know, who's going to blame him? This is a lot of harassment from a Terran player this early in the game. Oh, the medevac might be taken out here by these Stalkers. Oh, no, he just walks right underneath the medevac. Okay, I guess they had a pact, but the Hellions do die at the natural expansion, so Fraer can breathe a sigh of relief, but not for long, because we have Cloaked Banshees on the way, and this is interesting. This is something I've seen, like, Tasia do recently in TVP. He's really investing a lot into this one-base play, getting medevacs on the field, Hellions, and Banshees, maybe even Cloaked, and then getting a natural a little bit later. So really interesting play here from MajOr.
I mean, if you can find that timing window where your opponent doesn't have that observer out or their observer's halfway across the map, and we do have a big push coming out here by Fraer, a lot of stalkers heading on over. Based off of what he's seen and what his opponent's lost, he knows there's an opportunity. The Robo is right next to the Nexus in the main, and this is going to do a lot of damage.
Like, these are Cloaked Banshees. These are Cloaked Banshees, and the observer needs to be made and chrono boosted. I wonder if MajOr can target down these pylons. Or if it's more worth it to target down the Robo, but no, he's just gonna go right past it, and he knows there's no observer out, so he's gonna be feeling very happy right now.
Yeah, and he's got another Banshee already out at the front, so you know, keep in mind that that's gonna be pretty easy to defend there with that help of that Cloaked Banshee.
Yep.
And here he goes, moving into position. May try to bring a force field, not let these Marines run away. And the tank coming out to play as well, and that's just something he cannot deal with. So right now the Banshee's still doing so much damage. The Observer does come into play. He needs to get that Banshee out of there. He's pressing his luck, and it does go down, but he takes 24 workers. There's another Banshee inside the main, and MajOr is cleaning up here.
God, this is terrifying play. You know, as a Protoss player, this is like one of the hardest things to play against. You're like, okay, I dealt with the Hellions just fine. I mean, I lost some workers here and there, but I'm feeling comfortable. And then Cloaked Banshees waltz in, and your Robo is only halfway complete. So MajOr playing very abusively, a very abusive style here, and just now moving his command center to his natural expansion at the the 10-minute 30-second mark. So MajOr doing a lot of damage there and getting a nice little unit composition out on the field, a lot of Marines and a lot of tanks. Yeah,
and of course keeping those Banshees. He has lost one of them, but we do have 2 Banshees still out here at the tower. They'll join up with this force. And right now it's mostly stalkers, so 2 more sentries being put in. I don't know if you noticed here as well, but the 1 sentry did get focused down by a Banshee over in the middle of the map. So, I mean, it makes that sentry count even lower. 2 sentries. I don't think this is going to cut it for what's potentially on its way.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary composition. We still have Banshees harassing the main mineral, and they are cloaked. Even targeting down some Stalkers there, but now MajOr advancing to the natural expansion. Fraer is on the run. 2 sentries and 3 Stalkers. Extremely naked right now, and MajOr, there's the GG. Fraer just going to lay that down. MajOr taking a